So guys, welcome back to the Premiere Masterclass. We're going to be looking at text and titles and the essential graphics or properties channel. Let's see how we can create titles and text in Premiere Pro. I think I did something like that in the last class. Just a little text when I was trying to show you how to move texts. Yeah, so the basic way we do it in Premiere Pro is just use your T type tool, okay? And if you look at the T icon, you could also see like a little arrow to the right, bottom right, that shows that beneath this still has other features. So if you click and hold, you see type tool and a vertical type tool. So we're going to explore some of those features. So let's just get right into it. So I'll just delete this and let's just create, let's see what's still using our videos. Remember, you have to use your videos.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day.
So let's start this. The average person now spends 7 hours a day with our type tool. The average person now spends a day. Now, of course, my title has gone out, my text has gone out of frame because of the size and also the font style. Okay. Once you type a text, yeah, it's gonna bring up this pink like graphic bar or graphic button in your video. It shows you that the text is already in the sequence as in your timeline panel. So you can now maybe adjust it and adjust it, move to the left, right, maybe to where she started making the statement, the average person now spends. So let's
The average
so you can move this here.
The average person
But it's not looking nice. So then here you have the text properties. Okay, so anything you want to change in the text is where you find it. You can also see something like that in the effect controls panel. So you can also see something similar here. So they are basically the same thing. Okay, so just that maybe you might have more. I think I prefer this one. I think this is here has a better layout and it's easy to navigate on my right, just close to my sequences. Now coming here, over here you just have a couple of tools here. Yeah, then you have your font. You can choose your font and your font width. Okay, so you can choose Montserrat. You can choose. We have a couple of fonts you have access to. So this is, let's see, Lato. You can see, and Lato has different font widths. Okay, so you can see regular, you can see black, you can see black, and black italic was the former one. Then just explore. You should have some of them. Some of them you might have, others you might have to download. Like Adobe comes with a couple of fonts, also a lot of fonts, not even just a couple, if you have their subscription. Okay, but if you don't, you might have to download some of them. Okay, like SF Pro, there's the font Apple uses for their videos and their designs and their graphics, but I don't think it's here. Yeah, it's not. No, but I think Montserrat flies. I think Poppins also flies. So for example, Poppins is not here. So I think I can just show you how to download. I can just click on download Poppins font. Okay, so it's very easy to download. So you can just, okay, it's even a Google font. So you can just click on it and then you can download it. Okay, so I don't know why it's bringing this for me. But okay, let's try it first of all. If it works, fine. I just don't like this color. I don't know why it's bringing this language. I mean, the language, not the color. So, but let's see. Shouldn't take much time. Let's see if I should see it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I got it. So I downloaded it, and I'll just, of course, you should by now you should know how to extract your videos and extract files and documents. So I've extracted it. It should be under downloads. So let's see. Poppins here. So we can install this if you want to. I don't like, we can just select all and click install. But most times I just like, well, we can do that. Let's just do that for this sake. So I think sometimes, the earlier versions of Premiere, I think we used to restart Premiere before the font shows, but let's see if this is going to show. Is it done installing? I think it's done installing. Let's see if it's going to show now. Yeah, so we have Poppins here now. So Poppins wasn't here earlier, but we have it now. So you have the bold, italics, and everything. Most of the time, you just need one or two fonts, and every brand you would work with also has a particular font they use. So maybe they might use Montserrat. They have, I think most of the time, you just have one, some have two. Then later will come to color. That's the branding they have. They have their visual branding. So just you want font basically or two. Then within that font, you can now play around the visual weights. That's whether you can play with either the bold style or the light or thin italic. So I can do the average person now spends. Okay, then if I want to write this again, I'm just going to duplicate this. Instead of writing this again, I can just duplicate this by holding Alt and Add. So it's keystroke. So oh, it's not available now. So I had to download and install the keystroke. So I think it's showing now right here. My system had some issues, so almost my files were installed. So I just duplicated this by holding Alt and dragging up. Okay, so I'm just going to delete it and do it again so you guys can see and follow along. Okay, so Alt and drag, and we are good to go. So I'm just going to show you, I think I was trying to show you what visual weights, what I mean by visual weights. So let's see, let's drag this. So this is up and this is for this. Okay, so now let's make this the average person. Let's make this bold or black average person. Then let's make this now spend 7 hours a day. So we could do this, reduce this is 117. Let's make this 70 and put it by the right. We'll still work on this. So I'm just trying to show you what visual weight is, and maybe I can turn this off for now. You can see what it's all about. Okay, so let's play again.
The average person.
So you can see this. This is just how your text in the videos can look like. Okay, it's beginning to look as if it's fine, as if you know what you're doing. We're just playing it around the things. Then, of course, this is okay, this is for tracking, not scanning. So this is just like to maybe increase the space between your videos, so you can either reduce it or increase. I'm sure you've seen a couple of effects, social media text or subtitles that are like this. Okay, so if you increase it, the space between the characters increases. But if you decrease it, it comes closer. So most times you can leave it at 0, or if you get better at with your text, you can now reduce this a bit. You can also do this for this too. So let's see. You can do this for this too. Yes, maybe increase it so you can see what you're doing. So, but sometimes the text becomes too sticky, and some people don't like it. The people I work for don't like it. They prefer the text being normal. So just leave it to 0 and 0. Okay, so you can look at the text here. It's telling you, I just expanded. You should look at the A, and it's like a fraction. It's called the leading, and it's to show you the space, distance and space between characters that are stacked, that are on top of each other. So now we can now work with this. So the average person now spent, it was going out of frame. But if I should, let's say, move it one side and double click on this and then hit enter. So it starts up like this. So we have up and down. So I can now move this. Okay, to know if you should come closer or if you should be far apart if they should be far apart from each other. Okay, but if I can just set this back to 0, so it's just by default. Then these are a couple of text effects, something similar to this, but just maybe a quick way of maybe making your videos have a particular style. Okay, so you can let's move this to regular for the sake of it, so you can see the effects are better. This kind of like makes it a little bit bolder. You can see the difference without touching the text, the font size or the scale or anything. It makes it bolder. This italicizes it, so you can even use two effects at once. Then this is for all caps. Okay, you can see TT, so all caps automatically move from small letter to capital letter. So it's also a good effect, and maybe I should just say it's better for you to write your text in small letters. So if you want to maybe make it all caps eventually, you can now just hit this, because I don't think if you write capital letter you can hit too small letter. I don't think it's possible. And this is just small caps, so you can just do something like this here. So some text are big, some caps are bigger than the other because they are all caps too, but smaller version. So you can see the T is bigger than the HA, even though they are all caps. Same thing with 7. You get, so with a D. So this is it. Then this is for superscript. Okay, so it may be, if you want to write maybe 70 degrees centigrade, that kind of thing. So just play around with some of these things. I don't want to go through all of them, it's just going to waste our time. Or you can just click on it and see what it does. Not difficult. So, and of course, this is how you're going to move back to black, how your font appears. So let's do this again. So yeah, so we have to move this back a little bit to 0. It's already a minus, so let's look at 0. So then we have to come to your appearance. When it comes to appearances, you have your fill. Your fill is just the color your text is going to take. Okay. Then your stroke is more like the lines around your text. All right. So let's just give you an example. So if I should click on the fill, you won't see anything. Then the stroke is not highlighted, so you won't still see anything. But if I should just click on the stroke, you see what happens. So there's no fill color now, there's just a stroke color. So the stroke is just the outlines of your text. Your text outlines color, what color it takes. If I can change this to red, you can see, you can change this to, let's say, blue, white, black. You won't see anything because our background is black. Change it to pink, you get. So this is just what our text does. So you can fill, you can click on top of them. So our text carries a pink stroke, while the fill has a white color. You can change it to black if you want. You can change it to red, just like almost like our stroke. You can change it to blue. Okay, so most of the time, if the stroke is on, the fill will be off. And if the stroke is off or on, the film will be off. So you can use just create different styles and effects. Okay, so the average person spends, okay, let's say turn this off. The average person, let's keep it with white, now spends 7 hours a day. Now let me just work with this. Implement this, then bring this back. Now spend 7 hours a day. So I can, let's say, turn on the stroke properties and the stroke settings, then remove the fill. Okay, so you can see I'm going to turn off the stroke for the average person now. Oh, then I have to remove this now because you have spent 7 hours a day. So that's just it. So we have, these are just two contrasting effects. So you can even scale it down again. Now the stroke is looking so much now, but these are just, you can just play around with this. You can also swap this, this is for the average person, and open the stroke, select the stroke and untick the fill. So now we have two character or text which that just have strokes. Then we can now maybe give this a fill and remove this. Okay, so you can see how it is. Okay, then like I told you earlier, I'm not going to go over it because of time. You can also keyframe this. Okay, so you can just keyframe and move. Okay, so now let's see why the average person comes from the left. So
the average person now spends.
So you see,
the average person now spends 7 hours.
An editor. I didn't talk about this. I didn't do a particular class for this because I thought it might be self-explanatory, but you can also add your audio here. So if, for example, there's any background music, you can find one song here. You can just add your music to it. Where are you? Do I have music here? I think I have a couple of music here. So let's see. Something like this. Yeah, let's see. It should work. So just import. I should have a folder for music here, but it's fine. So I can just put this.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screens. And I don't say this to shame anyone because I've been there too. And making you reach for your phone, the average person now spends.
So your music is there, so you can just add. I'm just showing you. You can add your music panel here. So
the average person now spends 7 hours a day.
Depending on the mood and the genre of song you're looking to achieve, that's the mood you want to set the audience to. If you want it to be like an inspirational talk, you can add something like this, a motivational talk. If you want it to be like fun, catchy, you can change the music to. Okay, so it helps to complement what the visual, the character, or the person is on camera is seeing. So that's just a side note. Okay, so still on this here, you also have a background. These are all different or distinct features. So I'm going to turn this off again. Should I? Okay, let's see. Let's turn it on for now. Click on the average person. So you have a background also. And once you activate it, you can see what happened. A background came up. Okay, so you should untick, it goes off. Should tick, it comes on. So and it's almost, so it's 75% transparent. So this 75% is dealing with the opacity or transparency. Okay, if you should raise this to 100, it becomes 100%. Okay, if you should remove this, it becomes 0%. So it's the transparency and opacity. Then this is like the borders, your borders and size of the shadow. And this is the roundness. If you want it to be curved, okay, so you can just do something like this here. So that is it. Yeah, so for the shadow, same thing too. You can still turn this off if you don't have a need for it. Most of the times you might need this, you might not need this, depending on the kind of work you're doing and the client you're working with. But just play around with this and just know, okay, this is how you do something like this. Okay, these are the transform properties that don't come with the default properties or motion properties of Premiere Pro. And I'm going to try to explain in detail. So this text has its own transform properties. It has its own position, anchor point, scale, rotation. And why I'm saying it is because if you noticed in our keyframe,
the average
that's moving, it's active, we keyframed it using the normal Premiere effects, the motion and the position settings in the motion. Okay, but if the keyframe is not reflecting here, you get, and it's just because it's somewhere here, or it's because we didn't use it. So it's another place to look for this is just to come down, click on this button, and you would see it's here. Okay, you'll see the same thing here. Okay, so same set 1.3589.2. Okay, but if you should close your text properties, you can see these are different values and characters. Okay, so you just need to be aware of that. So another kind of text that we have is the vertical type. So this is just a type. This one types horizontally, this one types vertically. So you can see it also created our graphics. Another graphic. So I'm trying. Okay, I think I should have just turn this off, and it's now working with our previous setting. Let me just write on their phones. Most of the time, you might not be able to, you might not be using some of these things that much. Okay, so I'm just giving you a masterclass on Adobe Premiere, some of these things and what they do. There are two major aspects I want to touch on in this course model. This is one way to make this.
The average
let me just try and do something. Let me just.
person now spends 7 hours a
Let's try and work with.
day staring at their screens. And I don't say this to shame anyone because I've been there too.
Let's just work with this clip, this 7-second clip for this. Okay, so then I can just take this back. Let's see if we can just create a text of what she's saying or something. So let's just try and edit this video. Let's see. So
the average person now spends.
So let's try. We're done. We are working on edits now. We are done with the checking what the text does. Let's see. So I'm going to move this back to my fill color. Remove the stroke. Change this to like. Let's see. The average person. I'm going to change this to bold or regular. And change this to bold. Then I think I'm gonna add a stroke, but change it to black so you can see the text more better. Then I'll change the scale, the stroke width to 2, even 1, just enough to see the feel and the text very well. So something with this, can put it to 2, even 1. Then I'm gonna swap the font size for this. So let's just move this to 70 because I want this. This is like this is the main issue. 7 hours a day is like a number, like it's too much for it to be spending 7 hours a day. Okay, so I think 7 hours a day is the caveat on their phones, not the average person. Okay, so I'm just right on their phones. You can see a couple of you see some things I'm doing, or let's create another text title for this now. There's 2 ways. Now I can just click on this and continue, and it creates a graphics for me, and I can just paste this on their phones. Okay, and that's one way I can do it. It can work like this, but before we get to this place, if we're creating just text titles, which of course can happen at some point, we might have a lot of text tracks here. There's a lot of video texts on our video tracks. So imagine I'm trying to subtitle this. So very, very dangerous for
spends 7 hours a day staring at their
staring on their
screens.
Staring on their screens, not on their phones. Staring at screens. You can see the text that I'm typing here is also appearing on my timeline panel. So on the video tracks, you can see it. I'm going to just expand this a little bit. You can see some of them here. So, and it's on different
The average
panels.
person now spends 7 hours a day
I can even download this.
staring at their screens.
Yeah, so we can bring this in a little bit. Now, I can either use this or, okay, this is a good way to teach about this too. The difference between the basic position, the basic motion properties and the text properties that come with it. So you can see this screen, my end screen is almost cut out. So you can't see it, even though I'm moving this to the beginning of the frame. And you can see once I touch on the normal motion properties on the effect controls, it's just moving it left and right, okay, up and down, but it's not actually adjusting the screen which I want to adjust. Okay, so this is where you can adjust via using your properties, your transform properties as the text properties. Let me call it the text motion properties, but you can just use this to not adjust this. Okay, just so there are times you can even might be working, and once you click on this, it kind of shows you it's within your program panel. So everywhere the video is showing, it's showing you, okay, I am working with this text on this entire screen. You can see these blue lines around the video. It's showing you that it's recognizing this text as a 1920 or 1280 by 720 your sequence now. Now, but if I should click on this, it's just recognizing the text panels. So if you see now, I'm going to delete this too. Same thing too. So if I should select the phones, oh, I click phone test. Let me delete this, please. I'm so ashamed of myself right now. So I can just instead of your screens can work, I can click on this, and it's just giving me these blue bars that were initially here and now just within the text. So I can increase, I can decrease, I can increase. That was a joke. So you don't know what I'm doing, okay? So and of course there are times where you might get away with it, whereby you can just move this and it comes into frame. Maybe yeah. So I think that's basic. That's just one of the use cases. That's one of the use cases for the your text transform properties. Okay, you can. It's different from the main one. So most times, if maybe you're trying to do something on the text, maybe something like this now, and it doesn't work out, you can just try to just come and adjust with this. Okay. The other times I don't like how this one works sometimes, but the other times it can just start acting up. Maybe you want to adjust something or you're writing something that just goes into this place. Like it goes into once it goes out of this box, you might not see it again, you might not see the rest of the text again. So it means you might have to now adjust this a little bit, you get. So that's just I had to get it out of the way. Then also instead of there's also one way to do it that I was talking about before I digressed into to talk about this. You can stack up your text like this, you know,
The average
average
person
person, this is even slow, so the average person should be faster than this. So let's work with our what we learned before. So
the average person
still too slow. So let's just reduce the let's just reduce the distance and it's going to be faster.
the average person
Mm.
the
So I'm going to adjust this a little bit.
the
Average
average
person
person
now
now
spends
spends
7 hours a day.
average person now spends
I can even just add spends on the next 7 hours a day. Yeah, or I can even try and make this a little bit bigger, make it black. Ah, that's too much. So let's see, extra bold. Mm, let's leave that bold, then change this to regular. Where are you? It's only regular stuff. Let's make it thin or light. Why did it not reflect? Let's do thin. Okay, it's reflected. So let's do thin. The average person now spends 7 hours a day. Should I do this? I think I'll move it to one side. I'll move it to the middle. And you can see because she's white, obviously, the text and her background is also almost whitish. The text is almost looking like you can barely see it, or it's not as contrast is not so much. So maybe you can just move this. Yeah, so 7. I got Josie. So now you can see, if you remember my anchor point lesson, I'm trying to scale it, scaling from where the anchor point is. Remember, I'm scaling down, scaling up. It's scaling from. So if I should move this, let's say here, it's going to scale from the middle now. You see, I should move it here. Move scales on the right anchor point. Remember, I don't want to be distracted. Let's go back to our video. So we can just scale it down again. So scale down to 100. Now I could just do it like this. Yeah.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their
screens. But this one of course needs a lot of adjustments. So you could just maybe change it back to 70. And nice, too much. You can see what I was trying to tell you before. Now I'm moving this around, and it's looking like something is swallowing up my text. One demon is just doing what I don't understand. So, but I think it's just one of the feature of the shape property. Okay, because like I told you, it's selected is the shape properties and I'm selecting, so it's moving it. I think maybe there's a limit it exceeds, or it's now trying to get swallowed up. So if you say that is no matter what I do, yeah. So instead of moving with this at some point, when I see it does something like this, instead of moving with this, I just do this instead. Really good. So, and that might be the scaling properties too. So let's see. There's where you could scale it up, and it happens to be like that. So let's see, 100. I'm just trying to just create a hierarchy in design. I'll talk about that later on. Okay, so it's going to be staring at the screens. Okay, this is that. So.
a day staring at their screens.
So instead of doing this like this, separate, it can be helpful. It can help. I used to like this. I used to like it like this because at some point I was thinking I can individually adjust my clips when I want to. And I think it was faster for me. Okay, but there's a second way to do this whereby you can even.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screens.
So the way you can also do it is also to delete this. If I just move it away. I don't want to delete it because of, let me just copy and paste my. It's not so much. Let me just delete it. What's it called?
The average person now.
Instead of just creating more text, not more text bars on the video track channel, I can create them inside here. So I just have to just select this, then click my type tool and type, and that layer comes up. So I can now write 7 hours a day. Start it again. 7 hours a day. Now, and where it's going to come into place is, okay, let me finish up. I click on this again, my type tool, staring at their screens. So we have it. So now it's looking like we're in trouble. Well, if you want to move this,
the average person,
visual happen now.
The average person.
So it means the animation for the average person now spends affected 7 hours a day and staring at their screen on. It looks like I can't even do anything.
The average person.
This is where you have to, think out of the box. So this was why I preferred using my text different way, stacking up text individually, because I really liked using effect controls a lot. That's this motion property system. It saves me a lot of time, and since I do it in my videos, I can just do it in my text. Yeah, but I found a way around this. Okay, so use your transform properties, not the motion properties. Okay, so you have your transform properties here. So and if for every text you create, it has its own specific motion properties. So you can do this, and it has its own. You can now come 7 hours a day. I don't know if I can expand this a bit so you can see what I'm talking about, and you can see I want you to watch the align properties of this. So if you click on this, it's going to show this value for the average person now spends The position property is 437 by 826.9. For 7 hours a day, it's different. So they're not the same thing. They have specific properties, okay? So, and if you come back here, so you can adjust to, I can just, it makes your work neater. Do you get? Or maybe in case there's anything you find, you figure out. So the average person now spends, you can, of course, adjust this to the left. Now you see it's adjusting individually, not simultaneously, unlike this one that works together. So which means we have to delete this keyframe. Yeah. So and we work with this. So spends, okay, so let's see. In 7 hours a day, we can now maybe even increase this. So we are achieving the same thing, but in a neater way. So or we could do 7 hours bold. We could do a day, thin or light, and reduce it a little bit. So you can still achieve all those properties. So and let's try to animate. The average person, let's see. Now this is where the animation might come in proper. This is where you might have to use this part because I think it's going to be difficult for you to animate from here. Let's see. So 7 hours a day. No. Average person now spends, let's see. You can create a keyframe. You see, it's already creating keyframe here. I told you these and these were the same thing. So you can create your keyframe from here, then maybe move.
Average person now spends.
So we've gotten the place I want to create a keyframe. Now we can create another one here and go back to the previous one. Oh, this is not confusing for you, but this is just easy. Okay, same thing I'm doing here. I'm just working with this instead of this. Then you can now drag this out. And it's dragging. So
the average person now spends.
You can see same thing. Yeah, so but when it comes to maybe easing the keyframes now, the easing it, you have to come here, maybe touch this a little bit, so it can just
the average person now
moving fast and slowly eases into your program monitor. Okay, so the average person
the average person
you can even play around with it. I'm saying. So I think that's just it. So that's another way to do it. So you can add this.
The average person now spends
7 hours a day. So you can even do this for the second one. You can
7 hours a day.
I can keyframe from here. So let's say make a keyframe here. Go back.
7 hours a day. Spends.
Then take this down.
7 hours a day.
Alright, so move things kind of slow. Yeah, so then we can just come and adjust. This is for the average person. You can turn it on and turn it off here. Yeah, so then 7 hours a day. You can now go into this place, move down a bit, find the properties and 7 hours a day. So
now spends 7 hours a day.
Okay, so you can even just make it faster. So it comes in very fast from here.
7 hours.
Oh, just this snake again.
Now spends 7 hours.
So that's it. Of course, you can now add the third one.
A day.
I think you can even duplicate this. Can you? Let's see. Oh. Okay, so. Oh, these are the transition. So delete. No.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day.
Staring at their screen. So let's just finish up our text. It should be selected right away. Then staring at. Let's reduce this a bit. It should be the same size with this. That's the 70. So we have a symmetrical font size and font style. So it should also be regular. Staring at their screens. We would also make this smaller. So this is small, big, smaller. Okay, it can help with the visual. It can be visually appealing to the eye. So let's see, maybe we can do this. So it just helps adjust. This is big. biggest. If not for the 7 hours, would have done okay. The average person spends 7 hours a day staring at the screen. So what? Now I want to do it, so it's still fine. We can leave this at 70 back. Telling that their screens can now say, let's say,
staring at their screen.
Yeah, so we can even let's just keyframe from here so you see the same thing. Okay, so once she says screens,
and screens,
create a keyframe,
staring
then we're moving from here. So let's see. Let's adjust this already. Don't need to wait till it animates.
Staring at their screen.
Yeah, so
the average person now spends 7 hours a day.
What just happened? Okay, I think you noticed.
Now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screens.
There's a keyframe that we added maybe by mistake here, which made it after entering here, it still moved back a bit. Or
7 hours a day staring.
So I just did this.
The average.
It came in very late. So let's see if you can just allow this comment.
The average person.
Maybe it is back a bit.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screen.
So this is how you can work on titles, and of course, like I said, you can see
7 hours.
You can just let's say the average person now spends. You can even just change this. Say average person. Maybe you want to highlight this. Change it like red or blue or yellow. It's cool. Average person, but we have to remove this. We have to remove the stroke settings for it, so the color can pop out more. Okay, it didn't. So the stroke was helping. So, I just can press undo. So let's see the last print. You could do 7 hours a day. You could change this to red. This don't ever try this mixing this kind of colors together. It's kind of dangerous, but just showing you can change this.
A day staring at their
screens. Yeah, so let's use blue for staring. Since most of the times your screens are blue. Blue.
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screens. And I don't say this.
Once it's done, you can now just
screens.
You can just delete this.
And I don't say this to shame.
So that's it, basically.
The average person now spends 7.
I just added the dissolve effects. Okay, and these are just effects that are here. I don't know if I'll talk about this eventually. Not here. Effects. Where are you? So I think it's hidden. So let's just show it. So effects, yeah. This is it. So we can add this here. So then we can now search for a couple of effects. Yeah. So video effects and transitions. So I just added a dissolve transition. This is a cross dissolve. Okay. So just zoom in. Let's cross dissolve. The shortcut is Ctrl D. So you can just do this again and hit Ctrl Z, and it comes in. Why is this thing disturbing me?
The average person now spends 7 hours a day staring at their screen.
You can see it, so you can also get it from here. Dissolve, cross dissolve is also here. So just delete. You can add.
The average person.
Just add more. You can start like with these two.
The average person.
Deep to black, but most times deep to black should be on the video, not on the text. Just our effects.
The average person now.
Yeah, so this should be reduced a bit so it can start faster.
The average person now spends.
So this is just basically these are just text. Maybe I will go into this eventually, but
the average.
Because you know how to create your text. So yeah, I'll touch motion graphics. Then you can do transcriptions, which is like the final boss of titles and text. Okay, so